Hey, it's the morning
Hey,
chat.
good morning. Happy Thursday.
Good morning. I am so excited about today because we have Kate Hyatt here from the new organization, Energize Colorado. And we were introduced to them not long ago by a new friend of ours. And so we'll be talking about that later. But first, we want to welcome you to the Morning Cup. I'm Barbara Brooks, and this is Guadalupe Hertz. We are with Second Act Women. We're the co-founders of this organization that's helping rescript ageism and help women reinvent themselves. And so we are excited to have you here. This happens every Thursday morning for an hour, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, right here on our Facebook Second Act Women's group page. And you're also coming to you from LinkedIn live on the Second Act Women page as well. How are you doing today, Lupe?
Good, girl. You know what? I'm equally excited because I always love to see amazing people collaborating and doing good in our world. And Energize Colorado is the epitome of that. And we're so jazzed to kind of just share all this information with you guys so that we can continue to support and keep our small business and micro businesses moving forward. So looking forward to that.
I'm still doing my hair. Oh my gosh. I did that. I am too. And I'm really excited to speak with Kate this morning. We met her back when we were doing an event at General Assembly. And listen, stay tuned because she is going to talk to you about this $25 million gap fund that is going to be available for small businesses and micro businesses. And she's actually heading up an area that's specifically targeting us, female entrepreneurs. And so we're excited to speak with her this morning. Now, we're also going to talk about a few tips on owning your personal power and also personal branding. And on top of that, we're going to talk to you our hot topics. So what Libby and I have decided each Thursday is to pick a topic that we specifically have found on the internet.
We are scouring it on your behalf.
Right. We're trying to find tips, trends, hacks, information that is valuable for us to intake, valuable for us to know to either level up our companies or level up who we are as badass women over 40, 50, and 60. And frankly, just sometimes style tips or whatever it may be that we're all at some point interested in at this stage of our life, right?
As we're perusing, right?
Yes. One of my personal favorites that we're going to talk about here in a moment is personal branding. A few tips for you to stay on the radar because the competition is stiff. Yeah. So we're just going to give a few tips on what it is you could do socially and in this digital world, just a few as to what you could do to keep you out there.
Yeah, and I love that from the idea that sometimes people think that brand is just corporate or it's business related. And there's so much more, ladies, that you can be doing with, branding to kind of really create your own brand. Because I think it's two separate things. Like we've talked to a lot of brand strategists in the past. You've got your corporate brand and then you got your personal brand. And they're synonymous or they can be uniquely different. But at the end of the day, they deserve both the same amount of love. And so I love these tips that we found on that topic.
And then, agreed. And then you're going to talk about Instagram to launch Reels in early August. We're going to talk about that here in a moment as well. So at the beginning of the show, we always like to talk to you about what's happening, what's current again. And I can't wait for you to. I'm interested in what you found because I have not gone into the TikTok thing. I've heard too many rumors about them grabbing too much information. I don't have names. It's not my thing, but I love it.
I tried it once or twice with my kids, and that's about it.
Right? I tried it once with our women, Second Act Women. So we're going to talk. But let's go ahead and open up with the first one. Let's dive into that, Lupe, into Instagram competing with TikTok.
Yeah, so I don't know, like we were just talking, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with TikTok, but basically it's like short bursts of like 15-second, 20-second videos that you can record that literally have gone like viral. I mean, it's kind of crazy how it almost reminds me very much of like Vine back in the day. I don't know, a couple years ago or whatever, right? Where people were like flocking to this online platform to just see little bursts of funny videos and really creating amazing influencers as a result, with millions of followers. And so what's recently kind of transpired is, you know, the guy at the big house has issues right now with China. And so as a result, TikTok has come under scrutiny because it's a Chinese app. And so what's happening right now is that there's conversations about potentially banning TikTok here in the US. And so what's kind of crazy is that right now there is 45.4 million TikTok viewers in the US alone. Like, it's a global app. And so what Facebook, because Facebook owns Instagram, is now seeing is this opportunity, if this goes through, to basically, you know, convert some of those followers that are currently with the TikTok app into Reel, which they're going to be launching here in the first week of August. And it's going to be similar platform to TikTok. I think there's a couple of different tweaks that they're going to be doing to it, but same concept of a 15 to 20-second burst of videos. And so right now they are doing some heavy pushing to get people to, you know, start to sign up for Reel. They're to some degree also like buying, is what Forbes kind of said in a recent article, some of the influencers that are currently big personalities on TikTok to try to move that, you know, lion's share of viewers onto the Reel platform. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
I wonder how is that going to compete also with Instagram stories. We need to have Tony Lispy back, on here to talk about that. She's the girl who did the Instagram session during BizLifeCon.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that's going to compete with the stories, which I guess is a little bit different because stories is literally storytelling, which, you know, as you were saying earlier, Reels is more of like a Vine where those were 5-second.
Like little bullet bursts. Exactly.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting. I know that you and I have briefly talked about. Oh, by the way, this is my morning cup.
You waking up. I got the little cat one again today.
Oh, that's cute. I love it. Yeah, and I like that I have this little. Yeah, this is my squirrel moment, people.
No, Barb, she has many of those.
Right? It's nice and warm. Anyway, yes, I'm really curious about how that. But what you and I have talked about is upping our Instagram game for SecondActWomen, because a lot of our women are on there, and some are foregoing, not a lot, but some are foregoing Facebook in lieu of Instagram. So I'm curious, and I know I've got to work on our content strategy for Instagram. So I can't wait for us to learn more about.
I think it'll be a fun kind of way to still spread content. Again, I mean, that's the beauty of content. It doesn't always have to be like super informative, super formal. Right. It can be consumed in so many ways. And I mean, you all have seen some of these influencers that have got some crazy wicked followers as far as like the numbers are concerned. So ladies, it's just another thing to kind of put onto your checklist to learn as we're continuing to learn in our second act about cool things that you can do to just build community and get yourself out there on particular topics. So stay tuned as that comes out early August.
Well, I can't wait. So let's tap into a few tips on personal branding. And as a okay, first I do want to have a moment. I want to give honor to John Lewis. His funeral is now happening, and the amazing Barack Obama and President Bush and President Clinton are all there, and there's breaking news on ABC News. And I have to say, I finally watched Selma. So I'm going to talk about personal branding here at the end of the show. I just want to give honor to the last, practically the last civil rights leader in America, and what an amazing human being he is and was. And I am just in awe of learning more about John Lewis now, having watched Selma. And I don't know if you've had a chance to watch Selma yet.
I haven't, but I heard you. I mean, and I saw the little tidbit that Oprah was doing and kind of highlighting it. And so I need to watch it. I mean, it sounds like I missed an amazing movie and just documentary in the way that it tells, it tells a story of what happened.
Well, and what I have to say is when I was watching his funeral procession on Sunday morning, another breaking news when they brought that where he was crossing the Pettus Bridge. I don't want to give too much to the name of that bridge, so I'll just say the Pettus Bridge because it is named after a Klansman. But watching him go across horse-drawn carriage, and there's a part where the bridge bows, and so you can't see. And I often wondered, when I would see bits of the story about him and all those protesters, not rioters, there's a difference, protesters, peaceful protesters going across the bridge. I didn't realize that they literally couldn't see because of the bow what was ahead of them. So in the movie Selma, they cross the bridge, and at the bottom are people that are there to beat them and to put them in their place. Them as in, lots of races, but mostly African Americans. And it was just horrible. I mean, John Lewis almost lost his life that day. And 4 people lost their lives out of the 500. One is too many to lose their lives. But what was incredible, so there was the Alabama police there to sadly do what people had bats with barbed wire roped around the bats. Like, these are community people that the Alabama police allowed to happen. And George Wallace was at the helm of all of this. Regardless, what I thought was beautiful, and this is just a bit of a sign of the time, was how they crossed the bow on Sunday with the horse-drawn carriage, John Lewis's body in a beautifully in a casket draped with the American flag, comes across, and he was saluted by Alabama police officers. Saluted. Chills went down that is a sign of the times, and I know we have a long way to go, but it was chilling. It was beautiful to witness, and there's still much work to be had. Lupe, you and I talked yesterday as we were scheduling out. I know I'm going off the rails here a bit, but I just find this to be just beautiful that our presidents are there, no matter what side. That's the beauty. No matter what side they are there. We're going to be talking about white privilege, and with one of our women who is going to be leading that, and she is Caucasian. I'm really excited about getting that conversation going because our mission as Second Act Women, yes, is rescripting ageism, but it's also brandism. It's in some points racism. That's not our thing, but it's the isms. Help fight the isms, with our core being ageism. But because this is led by 2 minorities, it's important for you and I to have those discussions.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I think what's beautiful about, you were talking about the bow and what a juxtaposition from then to now, having officers saluting. And I think at the heart of that, just visual, is the idea that change is possible. I mean, change is possible, and with understanding, with a willingness to show up, to learn from our past, to change mindsets, to understand that biases sometimes are inherited, they are not inherent, and that we can all evolve to understand and value everybody as a human being. We are all human beings at the very end. And so that to me shows a sign of progression and hope that I, cling on to, that our world hopefully will get back on track and recognize the beauty of each person.
Absolutely. So I know that wasn't on our schedule. Yes, we do a run-up show that we work hard on, but I just, witnessing this in, So
I think that's beautiful.
Let's go ahead and lighten it back up. Let's talk with Kate with Energize Colorado.
Hi, Kate. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm happy to join you all, and I'm with you. I salute John Lewis. And I think anything that we can do to channel him, channel his legacy. And I have to say, you two just are the true embodiment of good trouble. And John Lewis would appreciate everything that you two do. So thank you.
You just made our day, Kate.
Oh my gosh, that makes us so happy to hear that. And Kate, we were introduced to Energize Colorado from our new friend, Brad Feld. And he and Governor Polis and an amazing collection of giving Coloradans who've given out of their pocket, as well as the CARES Fund Act and other funding, which you'll speak to put together this coalition, really, of volunteers who come from a wide breadth of backgrounds to help small businesses, micro businesses, which I would love for our viewers to learn a little bit more about what a micro business is. But to help us, and I do include SecondActWomen, companies like ours, continue on the growth path, through these amazingly trying times. We try very hard, Kate, not to use the C word because it's used all over the place. But introduce us to you. Who are you? And I have to open up the door, let my dog out. She's whining really quick. And so Lupe, if you can carry this for 2 seconds.
We'll have a conversation. So tell us a little bit about you, Kate, like Barb was saying.
Oh gosh, about me. I have been in Denver for about 20 years and love Colorado. And my background, my professional background is in human capital. So I've been an HR executive for many years. I actually had an opportunity to volunteer with Energize Colorado in June of this year. It's a relatively new nonprofit, and I do a fair amount of board work on the side. I'm on a couple of nonprofit boards. I'm on a couple of advisory boards for startup and early stage companies. And when I heard about Energize Colorado, I raised my hand and said, I want to be a part of this. This is the embodiment of Coloradans helping Coloradans, and with Brad at the helm, and we have a fabulous CEO, Wendy Lee, who's leading the effort. We have over 200 volunteers who have come together, and I was actually tapped to lead the women-owned business segment for Energize Colorado. So I have a team that is focused on really assessing the needs of women-owned businesses across the state and ensuring that they have access to the resources that they need, everything from capital to mentoring to legal advice to mental health services, access to PPE, all the things that Energize Colorado has actually put together in the last 90 days. In 90 days.
Yeah, you guys said we're gonna do it, and you assembled and did it.
It's amazing. That's the startup community. Very very entrepreneurial. Total can-do attitude. We're just gonna, get it done.
We're just gonna do it.
But formed, the group was officially formed, I think, in the middle of April, and was up and running within weeks. And this is not just a crisis organization. The intent is to stabilize, address the crisis, provide the services that people need, but then to really help innovate and grow businesses, especially small businesses. That's the focus. Small businesses in Colorado, and about a third of Coloradans actually work for small businesses, meaning 500 employees and less.
Wow.
The micro business community is thriving and is really the foundation of our economy in Colorado. So it's certainly important. So this is really more of a long game, and I'm totally honored to be part of the initiative.
I think it's beautiful, and the fact that you all are volunteers is with a organization, and there's a lot of you volunteers and a lot of different segments to this. And as you said, you're leading up just one portion. You're heading up the women's. Tell our groups, before we dive further into the women's component, what else is Energize, the minority, and and some of the other components?
Sure. So the organization, we actually do have an org chart, and we have over 200 volunteers. But then we do have kind of a leadership structure and a group structure. So we have business segments. So in addition to women-owned business segment, we have a minority-owned business segment, a rural-owned business segment, a front range business segment, and a veteran-owned business segment. So that's kind of how we kind of categorize the businesses. But then we also have had various initiatives. So we had initiatives that were focusing on, for example, right away, an initiative focusing on access to PPE, because businesses could not get PPE. And we had basically a manufacturing initiative that was all about how do we locally source PPE, how do we make that available to Colorado businesses, basically at a low cost. Because you all recall the crazy price gouging that was going on, for
ridiculous,
for weeks, and essential businesses, they needed the PPE in order to continue to operate their businesses.
Right.
So that's an example of initiative. Early on, the idea of having this group of mentors, and Energize Colorado actually has about 180 mentors who are volunteering their time to assist small businesses with things related to COVID and the initial closing down of business, but then also reopening, but access to professionals in marketing and financing and all the elements that you need to run a business successfully. So that would be an initiative. And then we had a really heavy emphasis and very successful initiative around mental health. Just knowing that the stress and the uncertainty is just really just weighing people down, and needs to be actually our number one focus is taking care of ourselves and our well-being so we can take care of our friends, our family, and our businesses. So the mental health platform involves a number of things. There are a number of free services available to individuals. And we also have had therapists volunteer their time and basically provide free access to therapy, which is something that we don't, we think is really pretty.
That's unbelievable. And has that launched yet, Kate?
Yes.
That portion? Okay.
Yes. So the therapy and all of this is on the Energize Colorado website, energizecolorado.com. And there are various areas, and there's one tab that's Get Help, and that's where you find information around the mental health services and PPE and getting a mentor. But there's also a Provide Help, provide assistance, and that's where you can actually volunteer and be a mentor or get involved in one of the business segments and really help us amplify the messages that we need to get out there to the business owners about these resources that are available. And then also, we are approaching this with just a very, open mind and listening mode. We want to know what else is out there in terms of a gap. What do small businesses need that no one else is providing? Because again, as a relatively young, fast-moving nonprofit, we actually have the ability to get things done.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, first and foremost, I'm blown away. I sit here and I listen. We've always said Colorado is one of those states that is so entrepreneurial friendly. It pales in, I think it trailblazes on so many fronts compared to other states on the initiatives and the support systems and just the community and camaraderie. And in this case, even philanthropy that is geared towards small businesses. And so, we commend you guys for doing just an amazing work. And what I love about it too is that with some of these new services, you're also focusing on those micro businesses, which many of us felt when, the PPP came out, we were being overlooked. And we were the ones that were kind of falling through the cracks. And so for you and your team and your organization to have the foresight to say, you know what, these guys matter. And at the very end, there's a majority. What's the statistic? It's an insane statistic about how many micro businesses are out there compared to just small businesses. And yes, we don't create the revenue because we're smaller, but our volume is definitely significant as far as the makeup is concerned of businesses in total here.
Yes, exactly. Hundreds of thousands actually of micro businesses, and we're actually classifying those as 25 employees or less. That includes individuals, sole proprietorships, those solopreneurs, and we do agree with you that with some of the initial access to capital. Due to various, reasons, some of it, not having, access to having a person who could actually go in and fill out the application. We know there are also some language barriers that stifled, some of the small businesses from actually obtaining capital early on. And, we also know that there's a need for technical assistance. So with the launch of the Gap Fund, do you want me to talk about that next?
Yeah,
yes, let's do it.
Okay, this is so exciting. So Energize Colorado is actually launching what we're calling the Gap Fund. We anticipate applications being ready to launch on Monday, August 3rd. So coming very, very soon. And the focus will certainly be on those small businesses and nonprofits with 25 or less employees. Priority given to women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and rural. Also, some priority given to small businesses that did not have access to capital with these previous initiatives. There will be upwards of $25 million. There is $20 million that are grants, and those are dollars that are coming to Colorado through the CARES Act. And OEDIT, the Office of Economic Development and International Trade, is actually the official receiver of those funds. They're a state agency, and then they're actually having Energize Colorado be the arm that will be launching the fund and the applications and basically going through this process of valuation. But that for $20 million are grants. That means there's no payback.
Wow.
It's not a loan.
Like, listen, ladies, that's like free money. Like, literally.
Exactly.
Christmas morning here.
Exactly. It's like free money. And so organizations can apply for up to $15,000 in a grant of free money. And then the additional funding will be loans, will be low interest loans. And so organizations can also apply for an additional $20,000 in loans. So total package of $35,000. We think, especially with these smaller organizations, smaller businesses, and especially those owned by women and minorities and veterans and in the rural areas of Colorado, will be a tremendous help to stabilize and grow those small businesses. The best way to just be ready for, to submit an application. Definitely go on the Energize Colorado, sign up for the newsletter, because as soon as the applications are live, there will be a push. There'll be a push out to everybody who's on the mailing list. And then, start to pull together, some of your financial records. We know that can, that can really be a hassle for a lot of people, unless you're an accountant and you just really, really love that stuff.
Yeah.
So start to have that, but also the applications are going to be available in Spanish and Mandarin.
Right.
And there's going to be technical assistance to help you. So we are actually using a Colorado-based call center for Tier 1 support. And then the Energize Colorado mentors will be your Tier 2 support. So the idea, this is like all of the initiatives with Energize Colorado, this is designed to be inclusive. We want to include as many people as possible. We want to make it easy for people to have access to this capital. And so we're going to do everything that we can to help small businesses and nonprofits actually obtain this funding.
So what makes it easy? Because I have to tell you, you're absolutely right. When it came to PPE, Lupe and I actually tried to apply for a loan a couple of times through our bank citywide, but it was too late, or funding was gone, and at the beginning, as you know, everything was so confusing. There were so many different ways and things that we're supposed to, as micro businesses, apply for, but then we didn't know how and where and blah, blah. So what makes this easy to have access, to this funding?
Yeah. So the GAP Fund Committee is actually chaired by Ken Theory, former CEO of DaVita, and he's put together a team of technical people and also product people to actually put this together in a way that is just easy to access and easy to complete. I think also having the mentors will allow, we'll just kind of fill in the gaps. So when people have questions, rather than just, stepping away and saying, I just can't do this, right?
Right.
We're really trying to pull people in and provide that assistance in getting it done.
So who can apply? One of our SecondActWomen, Angela Wilson, she's pre-revenue. And her question is, can pre-revenue businesses, and I'm assuming yes, but who can apply?
I would encourage, is it Angela? I'm sorry, Angela? Yes. So Angela, get on the Energize Colorado .com website. There is some initial information around eligibility criteria and priority and all of those things. I do know that financial records is one of the requirements. So I'm actually not sure. But also, Angela, please feel free, connect with me on LinkedIn, Kate Hyatt, Denver. Happy to track down that information for you.
Oh, that's awesome. What does pre-revenue? Can you let those that may be watching that don't understand that kind of speak? What does pre-revenue? Because she is a new business launching. So what does that mean exactly?
I'm assuming that means she doesn't have a history of bringing revenue in. So, pre-revenue meaning probably, post-launch, but before sales are actually coming in.
Yeah.
SecondActWomen, practically.
And so you also talked about obviously priority going to organizations that did not receive prior funding. We have some ladies that did receive funding. So is it that in this first phase, you'll be focusing on those that did not, but are you encouraging them still to apply? Because obviously you got a limited amount of money on the previous CARES initiatives. So are they still eligible? And if so, how are you taking that into account for those that had applied and did receive some support?
Yeah, great question. So yes, I would encourage people to apply. That is not a disqualifier. One of the things that we will be doing is making the criteria transparent and public. So that will be on the Energize Colorado website. So it'll be very clear. What are the specific, attributes that apply to your business, and be sure in your application then to call those out and reference those.
That's fantastic. And also, so from the time that you applied, let's talk a little bit about that behind the scenes process. Yeah. And when can people expect to hear, or are there other steps involved? So like once you submit, is there more follow-up or more documentation that will be, is there a checklist of sorts that people could kind of adhere to say, hey, I get all my ducks in a row, and here's kind of what I can expect to wait from the time that I apply to the time that I hear back?
Yeah. At this point, we're anticipating that we'll actually have, 3 different tranches of funding available throughout, the rest of this calendar year. And that is one of the things that's important to mention, is that we're required to basically allocate these funds by the end of the year. So that is a federal requirement because it's CARES Act funding. So we're going to move very fast. This first application period will be about 30 days. We anticipate being able to get back to people after that closes. So, 60-day total. And then, basically the same timeline for the additional tranches during the year.
Okay.
What do you think are the chances sometimes people don't apply for grants, because they think the paperwork is going to be too much. We've already got that settled that it's not. But also, companies and folks don't apply just because they don't believe they're going to get money. What are the chances, and I don't know if you can answer this, that someone who applies for 500 to 1,000, whatever it may be, will receive funding? And what's the criteria?
That the chances, it's simple math. The more people that apply, the lower the chances, right? For every individual. That's one of the reasons why we were just encouraging people to, apply soon. Don't wait. Remember what Barbara said, this is free money, at least the grant portion. So, why wouldn't you apply? There's actually no downside to it. So, we don't know. But unfortunately, there's a lot we don't know currently in the world. So, this is a sure thing. We have these funds, and we're going to get them out to the small businesses that need them.
Yeah. Well, I guess as a follow-up to that question, though, then, Kate. So, I know that you mentioned that there are industries, women, rural, veteran, et cetera, that you're prioritizing ahead of it. And so that's obviously one marker that if you fall into those buckets, it kind of sort of elevates you on the, the selection process. But are there other things, for example, are you looking at organizations that are creating impact, their type of business or size of employees or anything other indicators that would say, hey, you know what, I hit 3 out of the 5 potential marks, so my odds are, improving.
So impact is definitely one. That is a good one. And viability is another one for sure. For minority and women-owned and veterans, if your business falls into all 3 of those categories, you get points for all 3 of those categories.
Damn.
Wow.
So, ladies, I know there's a lot of you out there that click those boxes. So,
right. And then if you're in rural Colorado, then it's like fun,
right?
Right. You have all 4 of those.
Yeah, quadruple.
Exactly.
That is awesome. So there is, and you asked about industries, and this is probably of no surprise to all of you, because you all know how much Colorado actually depends on tourism. There is some preference for businesses that actually are contributing to tourism.
That's great to know. Wow. We had just someone from BizLiveCon asking about support for the hospitality and tourism industry. So we'll have to definitely make note of that in our, as we continue to, once you go live with it all, articulate that, because I know that we have a lot of ladies who've been hit hard as a result of the downsizing, furloughs, and just closing of businesses and seizing of travel. So it's good to hear that that's a primary focus for you guys.
And who does that include? Are we talking event planners, wedding plan? I mean, what does that look like? We know what it looks like. Hotels, we think big, like hotels and destinations things. We were talking micro businesses. Who are we talking about in that industry?
So definitely wedding planners, event planners, caterers. You think of all floral arrangements.
Yeah, all the little things, right?
Yes, of course. Little things that fuel small businesses that are unfortunately currently a lot of those events are on hold, or they're much smaller, right? Than
venues, some of the smaller venues. I mean, they're really obviously hurt. How long does it take, Kate, as we sort of close this out a bit? How long does it take actually I have 2 questions. From the time that they apply to the time that they receive the funds?
I am anticipating about 60 days. However, that's Kate Hyatt's prediction, because again, we just don't know what the volume is going to be like.
Right. The other point is there a place on the application where you, and I don't know if it's a ratio or what have you, how do you determine, or do we determine how much we're applying for?
Good.
We determine? or do you determine?
I don't know the answer to that question. I do know what the max is. I know that the max is 15,000.
15,000. Okay.
For the grant, and then another up to $20,000 for the loan.
For the loan. So in essence, you could apply for, go big, go apply for the 15, and then if you don't hit all the markers, you'll then say, oh, maybe they will give them 10,000 or 5,000, so, or whatever.
Correct. And it's not that you need to apply for both. You can choose to apply for one or the other or both.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Is there the loan? Is that going through Wells Fargo? Is it going through? Have you all partnered with a bank or?
Yes, actually, multiple financial institutions, and all of that will be, very clear when the application is ready to launch.
That's awesome.
Love it.
And one other question, Kate, if I may. So once funds are allocated, I know like with the PPP, there were specific things that you needed to allocate the funds to, like rent or utilities or et cetera. Do you have requirements on how you need to apply those funds, or is there some type of accountability post grant that we need to meet or anything of that sort that we can share with our ladies?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Oh, wow. So you don't apply for this.
Basically keeping a company afloat and however they need that support in essence. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
All right, ladies. Wow. Well, get on the website, sign up today.
Oh, yes, I love your mug. It's literally free money.
Okay. You've just made our morning, and hopefully those tuning in and those that will watch us and catch us on the, later on will just jump onto your website and learn more about all the amazing things, not just the Gap Fund, but all of the amazing things that you guys are doing to support micro and small businesses here in Colorado. I mean, congrats. We're thrilled to have you and so glad to connected.
Thank you.
And we want to say thank you to Brad Feld, to Wendy Lee, to Michelle over there, to you, Connor Swanson, which really briefly before we end, can you tell our viewers, those that are not small businesses, but are corporate women who've lost their job and are looking to swivel, we don't use the word pivot, and find, they've been affected. What's coming up in that area of recruiting?
Sure. So, Connor has been a member of the team for a number of months, and one of the needs that we are recognizing is that people need help with, career coaching and redoing their resumes, and just basic help with job search. So Connor has pulled in a team of experts in these areas and basically has them ready to go to offer, again, free services in, resume, redos and updates and career coaching. And that's, it's just another service that we're really excited to offer to the community.
This is all so fantastic. And, again, thank you to you for re-energizing Colorado through energizecolorado.com. We highly encourage those that are watching us today to log on to energizecolorado.com. Get on, as you said, subscribe to the e-newsletter and apply for these close to 25 million, just over 25 million dollars that are available to you. And it launches on Monday, August 3rd. So we encourage you to jump on board. Kate, we want to say thank you again, and we will be speaking with you very soon.
Yes, thank you, Kate.
Thank you. Bye. Free money. I mean,
it's like Christmas morning, I was saying, right? Like, come on, ladies, y'all gotta hustle. I know the financial stink. Believe me, we've been there, done that. But like, if that's what the only thing that stands between you and 15,000 or potentially 35,000 if you get the $20,000 loan, like, imagine the lifeline that could give you. So hustle to get all your stuff in order and get on that website to get your slice of the pie.
And this is, absolutely. And this is just a testament as a Coloradan, and I know you're a Californian turned Coloradan.
I've been here 16 years though now.
You're a Coloradan. This is a testament to, I'm just going to give props to our governor, to I don't care what side of the aisle, if you voted to to, or if you're a part of bringing this coalition, so to speak, together, and Brad Feld and people that are giving out of their pocket to help our community, it's beautiful. Little off topic, wear your mask. There is a mandate. Thank you, Governor Polis, that there is a mandate in the state to wear that mask publicly. We're big proponents of that. But again, I am so proud to call myself a Coloradan, that we have gotten, that a group of people have come together and dropped their day jobs, not dropped them, but have decided to add more hours in the day to help us, minorities, women, veterans, rural America. I mean,
it's just heartwarming altogether. And I think what's kind of cool here too is that, you know, we've heard from a lot of you ladies saying, well, how do I help during the pandemic? How do I, you know, I don't want to go out, you know, et cetera. But like, so Kate just offered other ways. Look at their website. Do you want to volunteer? Do you have skills to offer to support this amazing organization that's doing awesome things? Like, step into it fully, not just, you know, I mean, you can receive obviously the support, but then you can also give. And so it's just a great way to put just amazing karma out there, in my opinion, and get and share all the amazingness that we know that each and every one of us is capable of doing. So fantastic.
Agreed. And you know, another thing too is what this helps you do, which we, as you and I were working on our plans for BizLifeCon 4 and 5, and also planning out our workshops, what this does too, which you and I are about to begin reworking on, is it gets your finances in order. You have to know your number. This is actually a prime time for you to get your finances, get your P&L statement together, get your expense and income statements all together. Get on QuickBooks, take a class. We're actually going to, you know, we're going to launch.
I was going to say, we're going to hook you up with some knowledge on that front.
Right. Craft your business plan. You know, we're going to launch a crafting your business plan, your marketing strategy. You know, when you're starting a company, especially if you're looking to make a major impact, or just micro business, you're here to help people through coaching, and your goal is to have 10 clients. That's it, because that's what you want to do. The point being is you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan. And these opportunities are always going to be coming available to you throughout the course of the lifespan of your company. So now is the time to start working on your plan. And it doesn't have to be 20 pages. It could be 2.
What? Are you serious?
I know. It's a shocker for me to say that, right? Because I love a good plan.
This girl held my foot to some serious lengthy plans is all I'm going to say to that. But she's the other my people. So but I totally agree. I think it's the whole idea of just organizing yourself. Right? Like, it comes down to, if you have it up here in your head, then you're the only one having access to it. So if you've got a team, even if you've got another partner like myself, I mean, you have to be able to put it down in documents so that you're all on the same page. So 100% agree. The numbers, just, it has to be something that, you know, it differentiates that business from just an idea. And just a fly by the seat of my pants type of initiative. And in this case, is what stands between you and getting funding. So to keep your organization moving forward. So jump on it, ladies. But we've got your back. So stay tuned as we announce support you on the financial planning side.
So really quickly, I do want to go back to personal branding and tips to stay on the radar. It's very important. We've given this topic quite a few times about branding. And it's just imperative that you not only have a brand strategy for your business, but also for yourself. And by that, I mean, even if you're in corporate America and you are looking for a job and you're going to take advantage of meeting with those recruiters through Energize Colorado because perhaps you've lost your job, or you're still in your job and you're looking to pivot one day, or you're looking to start a side hustle, or you are a company, no matter how big, you are your brand. Everything you say and do, socially, online, and offline, you are now in today's world representing who you are and who your company is. I always like to say, and Lupe, you know I say this all the time, when you're interviewing for a job or you're going to meet with that new prospect or perhaps that new potential client, that coaching client, whomever it may be. A lot of times you may have been recommended or you've learned about it, which means you've learned about it online and now you've applied if it's a position. And they've researched, they meaning the hiring recruiters or that client that you're about to meet with, whomever it is you're about to meet with, no matter what part of life it is, guess what happens? Your brand walks in the room before you do.
Yeah.
It walks on that Zoom. Your brand has met with that person before you actually met with that person. The reason is you're all over it. You're all over social. You are your brand, and it's easy to know who you are and what you do, right, Lupe?
Absolutely.
How you project.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think sometimes people forget that. And sometimes people think, oh, I'm just an employee at a company, or my business is the storefront. And yes, that is true. But everything that you do, behind the scenes, how you communicate, how you carry yourself, what you say, if you burn bridges, how badly those are burnt, all of that kind of comes into play. And so it's really imperative, ladies, that you remember and keep that top of mind, because at the end of the day, it's harder to erase a bad impression than it is to create a good impression. And so here's some tips for you to kind of get your A game on, in essence.
Yeah, and so a few things. So let's keep in mind that as a founder, you represent three things as a founder. You're first the salesperson, because it's about business development. You can't pay your bills unless you have a plan on how you're going to get paid. Next is you are head recruiter. You are literally the recruiter for your company, whether you're going out to get 1099s to work with you and or hiring people because you've now grown your company. You are the head recruiter. Lastly, you're the fundraiser. Now, listen, there's a difference between sales and fundraising. Sales is business development. It's going out there, obviously, and getting the big sale. It's getting the sponsorship deal done. It's getting the new client. Fundraising is crowdfunding. It's exactly what we talked about with Kate. It's about raising funds through capital, through crowdfunding, all those sorts of things. Your brand, again, and who you are and what you do in that company as a founder, is represented within all those three things. Now, when it comes to knowing, or the tips that I highly recommend in personal branding, is crafting a personal brand statement. And we have that, and I'm going to drop that in. It's crafting a personal brand statement. It's who you are, what you do, how, or your target, and how you are helping that target.
Impact.
And yes, even in personal branding, how are you, as your brand, the head of your company, what is it that you are doing in your life? If you could have that flow off the top of your head when you're meeting anyone on any Zoom call, when they say, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I do da."
It's that 10-second elevator, right?
It's your elevator pitch, right? And I believe in having two. I believe in having one for me personally and one for the company. They kind of interspersed, as you know. It's also auditing all of your social media. So your tip and staying on the radar is making sure that your socials are all in line with who and what you believe, your morals, your as a person. I would, and I know I've been guilty of this, but I've wiped it all clean, is political. I will still say, Christian stuff because that's who I am. But wipe clean. You can have an opinion. Just don't go down the rabbit hole of negativity. That's all it is. Yes, you could say go vote. Just don't dip your toe into the sea of messiness when it comes to politicals, because you just never know what side someone is on. But also when it comes to LinkedIn and all of those, it's cleaning up, it's making sure you have a headshot. And I mean a real headshot, people. Not one that you took a picture of yourself and you cropped out the face of somebody. Because you look really good in that picture. And you got somebody's lips like halfway. It's things like that again represents who you are. It's making sure that your imagery, even again on your personal pages, your imagery represents who you are. And it can even be your family, because yes, if you're a family person, that's fine. just, make sure that everything is in line with who you are as a person and who you represent in life and business. So those are just a few tips. I go a lot deeper into this, as you know, when it comes to really diving into LinkedIn and what we can do. But yes, so those are a few tips. So Lupe, yes, thank you. What do you have to add to that? I know that we've talked about, these kinds of things.
I think one that kind of definitely resounds with what the conversation we just had with Kate is invest in people. This idea that we all have knowledge, we all have smarts, gifts, talents, and it's a disservice when you keep those to yourself. So a way to create personal brand is by giving forward, paying it forward, and sharing your talents and inspiring others to step into their awesomeness right with you. And so I think that creates obviously good rapport between those that you're teaching and then the ripple effects that come with that, how they then go out and help additional people. And so I would say definitely, take the time to see how you're giving back to your community, how you're supporting those around you, mentoring or volunteering or donating time, whatever it might be. Make sure that that's something that steps in, that you step into that with your organization and or with yourself or fellow employees. And then I think also too is this idea of like never stop growing, which is really the cornerstone of Second Act Women.
Yes.
Just because you are who you are right now does not mean that the future version of yourself can't be bigger, badder, more knowledgeable. So always kind of keep a curious mind and continue to feed yourself and surround yourself with those that you admire, or those that are in industries that you want to move into, or just people that inspire you to do amazing things. And, like we always say, you can YouTube just about anything or Google it. So if you've got something piques your interest, or you come across, like we were talking about Reel a little earlier, about this, 15-second phenomenon, step into it. And make that part of your brand, because what we always say is that there's not just one way to communicate and create community. There is tons of ways. Yes, you have to find the best outlets for reaching your targets and what makes sense for your brand. But at the end of the day, there's a plethora of things that you can pick from. So go out, explore, keep learning, and just be your awesome self.
Yes, and so that's a great way to end it, because
I practiced that. No.
Speaking of all that you just said, we've said it a few times. We have, as we come to a close of today's show, we sat down, you and I, for 6 hours practically yesterday, and crafted BizLifeCon 4 content. And workshops and BizLifeCon 5. We got done.
You're running forward, people.
Oh my gosh. We want to say thank you to surveys, right? We love that our women will give us the feedback when we ask for it, even if we don't ask for it, which we love. So we have been able, everything that you all have said over the course of the last few BizLifeCons, especially the most recent, we've incorporated those ideas into the next one. Of course, you can still find 80s and 90s and 70s music, especially 70s and 80s.
Because we know that Chris is going to be busting a move to those,
We came up with some really cool things that we're going to be talking with a few people about doing during the event. But we've also, lastly, crafted the next 8 weeks of workshops. Yeah. I'm leading a session and insiders, you get this for free. Outside of that, it's only $25 for 2 90-minute sessions on Canva. It's my favorite.
Girl, you rock. You're dangerous with Canva, like in a good way.
Oh. Right. I love Canva. So we have that session. Go on to SecondActWomen.com and sign up for that session. But Lupe, you and I are going to put we're going to start sending out the invitations and posting all these events on our website. We'll let you know. We'll bring you up to speed on that next week. The next week, we'll also talk about something that we were going to talk about today, is 7 tips to owning your personal power. We'll just touch on that next week. And then lastly, you want to talk about these last 4 announcements that we have, Miss Lupe? about tickets on sale for this live con?
Yeah, no, I mean, so Biz LiveCon, you know, October 23rd, you've seen already the announcement. Those that attended got a sneak peek of some special pricing, but right now you can still sign up for our early bird. With that promo code, you can save $15 off of the ticket price, which will include a new graphic tee. In case you didn't see it, last one was better than ever. We had Ageless, the first one, better than ever, and we're going to come back with an awesome new shirt for fall as well too. So you got to add to your collection, but I believe, you know, you need to definitely take advantage of and sign up now before August 7th for that. And then we'll be going into our early bird savings. But if you already know you're going to be joining us, like, why wait is what we're saying to that. And then we are going to be extending our Insider member sale. Usually it is $180 for the full year. We are extending the $129 based on response and request to keep that for just a little longer as people got through some paychecks and stuff. And so we are going to be doing that until the middle of August, August 15th. And so if you are considering joining us, please do so. We will be having a lunch and learn next Wednesday if you're currently not a member to learn a little bit more about what's all in the inside on the Insiders Club. So tune in for that, as you can check out that on our events page here coming up by tomorrow. But that'd be a great way to learn about all the amazing resources and tools and discounts that await you on the inside. So,
And we want to say,
and lastly, if you haven't yet, sign up for our newsletter at SecondActWomen.com. We'd love to be dropped into your email box every Tuesday.
all right, so we want to end it with saying happy little Thursday and make it a great day and blessings to you all. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
You know us.